What are some signs you should leave your job? So, guys, we have a lot of things that we don't like about our work, right? And everything in life, especially when it comes to our careers, we have to evaluate it based off of what problems are we willing to deal with, right? Because I think a lot of us, grow up with the idea that, we have this saying, follow your heart and the money will follow, right? Or just follow your passion, right? And you won't work a day in your life. Um, a lot of these things, may be true, but in most cases, I would argue that they're not, right? A lot of our aspirations and dreams, a lot of it is bullshit, right? Let's just be real. That's not to say that you can't find things that's not to say that you can't do things that you like and make money, right? I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that oftentimes, especially when we're working, at our jobs and we're working under someone else and we're in positions that we may or may not like, or there's certain things we just don't like about our position, we typically we start to resent it, right? And we start to complain about it. And if you're not careful, the resentment and the complaining can lead to a lot of problems, right? It can lead to addictions. It can lead to problems in relationships. It can lead to stress. It can lead to sleepless nights. It can lead to so many different things that can just affect you personally and affect you mentally, right? So there are some things that I think you should consider that are absolute deal breakers when it comes to quitting, right? Like, first off, if you're in a situation where you're not the work group is toxic, like there's just let me put it this way. There's more gossip than productive conversation, right? There's more pointing at other people, there's more blame, there's more backstabbing, there's more gossiping about people's personal lives than there is about the actual job, right? Like, than there is about like solving problems at the job, like fixing certain things and improving upon certain things in your job, right? Like that's a no-brainer in my opinion, right? Like if you're experiencing that, then obviously if your company offers a relocation situation where you can maybe like transfer to a new location, okay, right? That's something you can consider. But if there's no way out, then yeah, I think then that's a valid reason to leave, right? Because you don't have any other choice. Like, and obviously, a toxic work environment, you're only as good as the people you're around, right? So if you're around people that are backstabbing, that are gossiping, that are just low conscious people that don't have goals, that aren't really in it to make their lives better or make the company better, then you have to figure out how you can get into a better environment, right? So that's number one. And then number two is, does your company or organization or place of employment, do they offer a large earning potential cap, right? Like, you have to ask yourself, like, whenever you're in a situation, like, what's the long-term vision you could see yourself in, right? Like, can you see yourself in a role in 5 to 10 years where you're making $100, $150, $200,000 a year, right? You have to ask yourself these questions because, people say it's not all about the money, right? But in some cases, right, like if you're able to tolerate your job, you may not love it, right? You may not, it just it gets you up in the morning and you're so excited to be there. But you know what? You tolerate it. There's certain things you like. There's certain things you don't like. You kind of have this neutral stance on it. You have to ask yourself from that point, what is the earning potential? Because if the earning potential sucks, then okay, I like it, right? Or, it's okay, but I can only make $70,000 a year, right? And for some people that might be okay, right? Like if you don't have goals to, become an investor or, use your money to transition into self-employment, or maybe you don't have a family, you're single, right? Like everything, basically guys, what I'm trying to do is open your mind to what works for you specifically. If you're single, $70,000 a year might work, right? If you don't have a girlfriend, if you don't have kids, that might work, right? But if you have one or two kids, right, you might need to start looking at the 6-figure mark, right? Like, is there a possibility of me hitting that 6-figure mark, right? Because I got one or two kids, or I want one or two kids. So everything is pertinent to you, right? Like you have to really, what I'm asking you to do in this video is to ask yourself these questions, right? Because only you deep down know. Like, are you someone who is more of a type where you can live more minimalistically? You don't want to necessarily have a family. You don't want to have a situation where you're living with another person. So if that's the case, then if you don't need to make a lot of money, then okay, then stay at your job, right? But if your job doesn't offer a large earning potential, it doesn't have that span to increase your earnings, right? Then I don't think it's viable for you to be there, especially if you want to have a family, or maybe you don't want to have a family, but maybe you want to invest money, right? Maybe you want to invest in the stock market. Maybe you want to invest in real estate. Maybe you want to invest in things that you need money for, right? Like if your living expenses, right, for example, amount to about $40,000 annually, right, and you can only make 70, well, $30,000 a year, which amounts to what, about $2,500 a month, right? That might be okay, but long term, you want to start to, again, like I say all the time in my financial freedom videos, you want to aim to increase your income so you have more money to invest on a monthly basis. If you have more money to invest on a monthly basis, you'll get to your goal a lot quicker, right? And you'll be able to be free a lot quicker if that's what you want. And I think that's what all of you want in some way. It might be entrepreneurial, it might be minimalism, it might just be living abroad in a shit third world country, but you get to experience freedom. I think there's different forms of freedom, but I think I can confidently say that everyone will want that. Doesn't matter. You might not want to be a CEO. You might just want to be free and just experience life as it comes, right? Enjoy the finer things. But the point stands to reason that I think everyone wants some form of freedom. So you have to ask yourself, like, is $2,500 enough, right, every month to meet my goals, right? Maybe in the beginning it is, but in 5 years, is it going to be enough? In 5 years, instead of $2,500, I want to be able to invest $5,000, right? So these are just some things to consider, right? And again, if your job offers a long-term time horizon, like a 5 to 15 year time horizon for you to be able to move up the ranks and continue to increase your income, then great, stay, right? If you like it, great, or if you can tolerate it, that's fine, right? But again, like if it's a shit situation, or if it's not a good business, if it's not as big as some other companies, if you have, again, toxic workers, toxic people that talk about other people, they don't talk about ideas, they don't talk about improving their situation or the company's situation financially, then again, you got to bounce, right? Because we know this, but you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you're around, the people you work with are some of the people you're around the most amount of time, right? So if you're around the people that gossip, that talk shit, that are just low value people in general, then chances are you're going to be getting dragged down by them constantly. You might not even know it consciously, but subconsciously you're picking up on their vibration, you're picking up on their thoughts and their moods, and that has an effect on you, whether you realize it or not. Even in the 48 Laws of Power, I forget which law it is, but one of the laws is like avoid the unhappy. It's contagious. Like unhappy, and vice versa. Like happy people are contagious. So you want to put yourself in positions where you're with people that are happier, that are about growing, that are about improving, that are about a better life, right? Because again, from that point, now that opens the door for you to experience more, right? Because you're following their lead, right? Or they're following your lead, and it works both ways, right? Like the people below you will be better, the people above you will be better. Everyone's better in an environment where everyone's about the same thing, right? And it's not easy to find those places. Like I've worked in locations where the mood was shit, the people weren't happy, and I had to get out, right? Because I was like, yeah, like this is just not it. This is not it. I've tried, right? Like there's been situations where I've tried to, uplift the people in leadership role. I try to, uplift the people below me, and nothing works, right? Because the environment is the problem. The leadership is the problem, right? So whether or not, I think the two things that I think contribute to your decision, whether you should leave or not, is the people and the earnings. If you're in a position where you like the people are okay, they're about the same thing, and the earning potential in your organization meets a level where you can see, okay, I can work with that, or I can aspire to get to that level, so that again I can do whatever I want. I can invest, I can invest to create passive income, so that eventually I can leave if I wish and do my own thing. But everything has to be intentional. Everything has to have a reason behind it. You don't just, especially with work, right? Like the thing that we spend our most time doing, right? 40, 50, 60 hours doing. It's very important that you get this down, right? We're told that at a young age, college is one of the most important decisions. I think it's your place of employment. That's one of the biggest things that can hurdle you. Obviously, relationships and choosing the right partner. But as far as your earning potential, your mental health, and where you see yourself going, I think your career is something that you have to figure out. You have to have a plan for and be able to see it through, whatever it is, right? So anyways, guys, that's it. That's all. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. If you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them down below. And as always, I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.